bringing up our guest for the evening, the one, the only Baltimore Ravens superfan, Fonz De Falco, wearing his old school white Terrell Suggs jersey. Fonz, how are you?
I'm fantastic. You guys can hear me. We're all good here. Tom, Sam, it's an honor to be here. Yes, I had to go with the white because the Ravens announced they're going all white this Sunday, the ice white. So I got to represent. So obviously, big jersey guy here. So excited to be here, talking some Ravens and Giants. Again, thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely, Fonz. You're always welcome on this show when the Giants play the Ravens. Mike DeSantos says Fonz loves my puns.
Yeah, Tom, I'm just gonna play it for Mike here. That was his gentleman. Mike likes when I do those.
We're gonna have to use the soundboard tonight. Now.
I feel like
that. There's a flavor of Four Corners being injected into the show.
If I have the permission, I will use the soundboard throughout the show.
Unless Sam disagrees, you have my permission.
I implore you to use the soundboard.
Perfect. A lot of different sounds.
That Rodecaster Pro, something I still need to invest in. But anyway, your Ravens are coming off a 19-17 win on Sunday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals, where I'm just going to say it. I'm not trying to toot your horn or anything. The best kicker of all time, Justin Tucker, 4 for 4, including the game winner. Lamar Jackson, 19-32, along with 58 rushing yards. Mark Andrews had 90 yards and 8 catches. And former Giant Jason Pierre-Paul had a sack and 2 passes defended. What's it been like having JPP on that pass rush, man? Because he seems to be pretty good learning this new system.
Yeah, he had a nice revive, like when he joined the Buccaneers, and I was excited to see him sign with the Ravens, who gives us a nice veteran leadership too. It's weird seeing him in wearing number 4. So he's wearing number 4 now, the single digits. It's the number thing I still got to learn. I'm still learning it a little bit here and there. But, again, we needed that nice veteran presence because we are a little bit younger in the front 7. So it's definitely nice to bring him in there too. And he's looking great, He doesn't need to do so much on the line. So I appreciate him on there. So, again, he's officially a member of the flock, especially after Sunday night's game.
Yeah, I feel like in my mind, JPP's always been 90. It's like weird to see him with the single digit. I didn't mean to cut you off, Tom.
No. You're all good. I'm concerned about Sunday before we get into the Wink revenge game. And Fonz, we do have a nickname for Wink. It is Wink's Funhouse. That's what we call our defense now.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I might be a little biased, but I think you guys made a terrible mistake letting him go.
Yeah, wait, I want to ask a question real quick about Wink Martindale. Do you feel like your defense is either different or like not as good with without Wink Martindale? And like, how do you feel knowing that he's familiar with your team and like going up against him?
Well, the thing with Wink, he's been around the organization for a while. I think it was 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, 4 as the official like defensive coordinator too. I think last year we had so many injuries. He had so many different rotation of guys. And I really thought overall they kind of needed to make a change on the offense and defense. Personally, I would have said get rid of Greg Roman first over Wink Martindale to go for a little bit of a change. But, the effect is there now. I mean, I'm not going to say that the Ravens defense is still like the top tier defense. I mean, we were struggling a lot, especially. I mean, there's a stat that we were only trailing for like 17, 20 seconds throughout the entire season. It's because like the late game struggles, especially in that secondary, even when we're fully healthy now. So, yeah, it's a lot different. It's going to be he definitely is familiar with the Ravens offense and defensive schemes now. So, at the time I was kind of happy being like, a little bit of a change. Why not change it up? But now like seeing how all the Giants are doing, you guys are doing really good, especially on that defensive end too. It's like, I'm thinking we might have made a little bit of a mistake. I still would have said Greg Roman out the door before Wink. But now it's like, maybe we kind of brought out the wrong guy. But apparently it was a mutual agreement. Wink even said that he needed a change of scenery. So if he fully believes that, then, good for him. So, I mean, I'll always root for him. Any former Ravens player or coaches, I'll always root for them no matter where they go, except the Pittsburgh Steelers. But that's a different story.
You going to root for him this weekend?
See, that's the thing. Not this weekend. Maybe a little bit here. Let's see. I don't have the Giants defense in fantasy, so I will not be rooting for them. I don't think I have any Giants players, so no rooting for that at this point.
Right. Henry and Dictor says, how's it going? Miss you guys. Hank.
Hi, Hank.
Hello, Hank.
Hope you're enjoying a Yankees playoff game tonight. Actually, it got rained out.
I think it got rained out, right?
Yeah, it did.
It's tomorrow. At 1:07 p.m.
A good old playoff day game.
Yeah, we love it.
Why not?
Yeah. I don't like baseball right now for obvious reasons.
Sorry about your Mets, Tom.
I don't want to talk about it.
It's like it's hard to find a Giants-Mets combo, but,
I hate
it is
that.
what it is.
Sorry. Oh, you guys are both Mets fans. Oh, my God.
Unfortunately.
Sorry for your loss.
Another concern, and Fonz, you could attest to this, though. Hayden Hurst was the leading receiver last week. Former Raven, had 6 catches, 53 yards for the Bengals, and 1 touchdown. Yeah. And I think that's concerned, too, with your defense, the middle of the field, right? Wink never, when he was your DC, he never placed a high premium on inside linebackers, right? I mean, you drafted Patrick Queen, but you let guys go.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a necessity. You really didn't need it. I feel like he focused more on the secondary pieces.
That was the issue too, because that's why the front 7 struggled. I mean, listen, I like Patrick Queen, but he will have his moments where he'll like blow a coverage, maybe miss a tackle here and there too. So in pass coverage, it's concerning with Queen too. But yeah, Wink definitely focused heavily on the secondary, and there was a point where we did have one of the better secondaries in the league, and then injuries happened, and even heading into that season, I thought, hey, we got a solid secondary. But now, last week, Marcus Williams is now going to be out for a while with dislocated wrists, and that's going to be tough for us, especially against the Giants. I was looking forward to seeing him because he's been a great signing for us too. In the first couple of weeks, leading the team in tackles, interceptions, was just changing our defensive identity, and he's going to be a big loss for us heading into Sunday.
Sorry, I had a little snafu there on my end, but I think we're all good now. Fonz, you mentioned Marcus Williams with the wrist injury. That actually kind of led into my next question. How big of a loss is that?
It's a huge loss for us, because you saw last year what happened when we didn't have that elite safety duo. We had Chuck Clark and Deshaun Elliott, and they struggled a lot last year too. So we're going to be Elliott's not there anymore. He's on the Detroit Lions, but now it's going to be Chuck Clark in the backfield on the defensive side with rookie Kyle Hamilton. And Hamilton's been solid for us, but again, he's still a rookie safety. So we've got to rely on Chuck Clark, which I have my indifferences about him, because he does sometimes will blow a coverage here and there, miss a tackle too. But it's a downgrade from losing Marcus Williams. So that's going to be a little bit of a concern there, especially when you go past Humphrey and Marcus Peters.
Sam, how do you feel about this Wink revenge game? Because I'm looking at the stats, and the Giants have allowed just 91 pass completions this season. That's the fewest in the NFL. And I'm just looking at all the players we've been out with. Some of these stats don't make sense. The Giants defense ranks 9th in points allowed, 12th in yards allowed. I mean, Fonz, we literally used the company word DoorDash before as to the Giants defense. I mean, they're signing these players off the street. Nick McLeod and Justin Lane were our starting corners at the end of that Green Bay game. That literally Aaron Rodgers called Wink a fantastic coach.
Yeah, it's crazy because I've said this before, like on paper, they're no offense, but they're not supposed to have this incredible crazy defense, but they're producing really well on the field. So I got to get credit there with guys that a lot of outside of the Giants fans, not a lot of people know about. I don't know a lot of these guys in the Giants defense too. So again, I give credit where credit's due with Wink. The change of scenery definitely helped him. So again, give the credit. Got to do it.
I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't know the majority of the Giants roster. We literally have nobodies on our team.
I know. Well, the defense I can name a few. I know Xavier McKinney. I like him a lot. Dory Jackson, Leonard Williams, but he's out. Dexter Lawrence, I know he's doing really well this year.
Yeah,
he's a beast. To be honest, you don't have Blake. Do you have Blake Martinez? No, right?
We lost him to the Raiders.
Oh, but he's a Raider. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Patrick Graham.
Who?
Our former defensive coordinators there.
Oh, okay.
That's why they brought him in.
Not counting the 2 guys you just named, but it's crazy to think about. You can't. I know now they signed back Landon Collins. one of my favorite former Giants too. So, and actually, no, Tony Jefferson, Ravens legend.
Hey, you should have wore his jersey tonight on the show. You have it. You still have time. Why not?
I should have worn Landon Collins. I didn't want to jinx it. I didn't want to jinx it for the Ravens.
Fonz should have wore his collection of jerseys and just take them off throughout the show.
I was overheating that time too. I did that twice in my life.
I don't know if you should do that again, but that was definitely fun to watch.
I literally texted Tom on the side. I'm like, Tom, I got to take them off, man. By this isn't for me. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I cannot imagine that.
Yeah.
So, in honor of Hank not being here tonight, I'm going to go over his fun facts about this series before we move forward.
Let's do it.
Baltimore leads the all-time series 5-2. That does include Super Bowl 35, unfortunately. The Giants, however, are 2-1 against them at home. Their last win was in 2016, where Odell Beckham Jr. scored the game-winning touchdown.
Oh, my God,
yeah. Yeah, Ravens are favored by 5 in this game. There are 3 former Giants on the Ravens: Jason Pierre-Paul, who we already mentioned, Kevin Zeitler, and A.J. Klein, who was a Giant for 4 days.
Hey, it counts.
It does count. Another thing, though, about the Ravens defense, they are tied for the league lead with 11 turnovers. He also mentioned that the biggest weakness of the Ravens defense is their passing game. And with that, we get into the keys of the game. And Sam, I'll start with you here. Give us 1, 2, however many you have, your keys to the game here for the Giants in order to knock off the Baltimore Ravens.
I literally say this every week, and I will continue to say it every week, and it's going to be like my new Hank thing where he says get off the field on 3rd down every week. But when I say stop the run in the past, I've said stop the run and the star running backs. I mean, Lamar Jackson, and we said it before, is literally the best running quarterback. If we cannot stop Lamar Jackson, we will lose this game. That's going to be our biggest thing. J.K. Dobbins also in the backfield is going to be somebody that we have to keep an eye on. But Lamar Jackson is slippery. He's fast. He's excellent. I love Lamar Jackson, honestly. It's going to be kind of hard for me to root against him. But that's something that if we don't contain, it's over for us, even with such a good defense. But Wink Martindale does know about Lamar Jackson. He knows how he works. Maybe he was an offensive coordinator, but he obviously was on the team with him and is familiar with the way that he plays. So hopefully that'll be a good thing for us. But again, if Lamar Jackson goes off, I cannot see us winning this game.
So, Fonz, with that being said, let me ask you this as the Ravens expert. How do the Giants contain Lamar Jackson?
Oh, gee. I mean, it's a common thing to say, right? But you got to literally get after him quick, right?
Right.
Ronnie Stanley's back as a left tackle too, but he hasn't played a game in 2 years.
Yep.
He struggled a little bit last week too, but again, it was his first game in 2 years, come back from a broken ankle too. So you got to get back. You got to get to him really quickly, because if you give him an extra second or two, he has the legs to go to the left or to the right, or even literally up the middle if you leave the middle wide open too. And if that's the case too, you got to cover Mark Andrews, because that's his clear, no doubt, number 1 target too. I know they have Bateman and Duvernay, who I'm really high on. I think Duvernay is going to have a really big game.
I love Devin Duvernay.
I think he's the guy people should keep an eye on too, but he'll throw to them sometimes here and there, but he'll always look to Mark Andrews as the number 1 target. So I think you got to definitely, contain him in the pocket, keep him in the pocket, but also you got to maybe double up Mark Andrews at times, especially when you get into the red zone, because he'll no doubt look for him outside of with his legs.
Well, we all know the Giants are vulnerable against tight ends, and this Lamar Jackson theme really concerns me this game. Jackson is top 10 in the league in rushing. That includes the running backs, by the way.
Yeah.
The Giants have a 40% blitz rate through 5 weeks. We have Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari, who practiced today, O'Shane Ximenez, and Jihad Ward. They all looked good against the last dual threat QB the Giants played against 2 weeks ago when they played the Bears. And Kayvon Thibodeau is fierce. Now, he doesn't have an NFL sack yet, but over the last 2 weeks, he has 8 QB pressures. That leads all rookie defenders. Now, the problem, like Fonz just mentioned, Ronnie Stanley is back. You drafted Tyler Linderbaum.
No.
You swiped Kevin Zeitler from up and under us. Morgan Moses, solid tackle, in my opinion, at least.
He's been very solid for us. I'll give him that. Very solid.
Ben Powers, don't know much about him, but I'm assuming he's respectable if he's starting on your line because Baltimore is a good line.
Now, guard for us.
Is that because of the injury to Ben Cleveland, or did he win that job right out?
Well, Cleveland was injured, I believe, in the offseason. I don't remember what the exact extent of the injury was. But then when he did come back, Cleveland did struggle even a little bit last year at the guard spot too. So Powers came in right away and, earned that job in the preseason. It did really well. And I was high on Cleveland heading into the season, even last year. But he did struggle a lot on the line too, and the injury didn't help his case, so he couldn't get on the field. So Powers ended up taking over. Cleveland does come in at times at a rotation guy, but yeah, Powers just basically won the job because of the injury to Cleveland.
And what's your key to the game, Fonz? For the Ravens to beat the Giants, what do they have to do?
Oh gosh, like we said, it can't just be throwing it to Mark Andrews, and it can't just be Lamar running the ball every time. I mean, I've said this before, even when I say with the Bills, like Josh Allen can't be your leading rusher every week, and they'd say Lamar can't be your leading rusher every week because at the end of the day, teams will catch on to it too, and coming to later on down the season, he'll get exhausted from that too. So you got to get the running backs involved more. J.K. Dobbins is now back and healthy too. Maybe throwing a little bit of Justice Hill has been doing good as a third down back. And then get the other receivers involved, like Bateman, who's coming back from his injury, and Duvernay also. I just think kind of spread the ball out a little bit more because I know the Giants are definitely going to be keen on just eyeing Mark Andrews and containing Lamar in the pocket, especially with Wink because he knows him very well. So, and the defense, I'll say with the defense, I mean, you got to. You can't just say contain Saquon Barkley, And I just worry about the secondary. Even though there's a lot of Giants on there, the receivers, even though there are a lot of no-name guys, they're still playing at a high level, even in that offense. So, I mean, that's why I worry about a little bit with the secondary, especially without Marcus Williams. So try to do their best to contain the wide receivers. Who are the receivers starting this week? Is it Slayton? Tom, the guy said that be a star receiver for you guys like 2 years.
Yeah.
I said to Tom 2 years ago, Slayton's going to be the guy.
Well, you weren't wrong.
Hey, he had 8 touchdowns, the rookie.
I did tell him also Andrew Thomas was the best left tackle in that draft class, and now I can finally say that take was right. So it took a little bit, but
Slayton is literally our number 1 receiver right now.
So still, even with all these guys too, they could still put on a show. You saw it against like the Packers, and even against like the Titans too in week 1, even with a lot of no-name guys on here.
Fonz, I think you're going to learn a lot about our receiving core on Sunday, about who these guys are, who their names are, what type of impact they have on this team. Because, again, if you're not a Giants fan, if you don't play against the Giants, you're right. You don't know who they are. And that does concern me. You mentioned you're worried about the Ravens' pass defense. Giving up the most passing yards in the NFL through 5 weeks, but at the same time, you've also forced the most turnovers. I think you have to stack the box against Saquon Barkley, right?
Yeah.
I also think the Giants have to stop the run. Tyler Linderbaum and Kevin Zeitler against Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams, who's likely to come back after missing the last 3 weeks. Huge boost for our defensive line. We know J.K. Dobbins is healthy, even though he's not the primary runner. For me, it's more Action Jackson. And Kevin Zeitler is familiar with Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams. He went up against them in practice for 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, by the way, I miss Kevin Zeitler a lot.
Yeah. I guess we've mentioned Zeitler a few times already, too. So
I remember when he left and Tom was like, I'm sad.
But we saw it coming because of the cap clearance that he gave us. Thank you, Dave Gettleman.
David Football Gettleman.
Yeah. The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, couldn't even get our players' names right in an interview. Anyway,
you're saying about the receivers, honestly, the only receivers I know is Slayton because that's my boy, and I said he's going to be a star. Yeah. Tony, who I don't. Why aren't you playing Kadarius Toney? And then
both his hamstrings are hurt. Both of his hamstrings.
And then Kenny, I get paid $100 million to not do anything. Galladay. I mean, really. So that's literally the only 3 receivers I know on this roster.
Yeah. The 3 receivers you'll see the most of on Sunday are Darius Slayton, David Sills, and Rishi James. Those are the 3 names you're going to hear the most.
I think wasn't James the one that fumbled that punt return or like muffed it or something against the Bears?
Correct.
Oh, okay. So now I know 4 receivers then. All right.
Yes.
This is why I'm the Ravens expert, not the Giants expert.
One other thing I wanted to say is I think this applies to both teams, right? limit the penalties. Again, Sam, we had 6 penalties last week, which is an improvement, but I'd like for them to get that number under 5. And we held the Packers just 4 for 10 on third down. The inability to sustain drives, I think that'll be much more difficult against a Baltimore offense, that features the likes of Action Jackson.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a crazy thing to say or not, but honestly, I'm more nervous for this game than I was against the Packers. Like, I feel like going up against the Packers, I was like, they have holes. Like, there are things that we can do to win. Like, going up against this Ravens team, just seeing the way they performed last week against Joey B and the Bengals, like, it is actually like a little bit scary going into this game, because I like genuinely feel like this is the first time going into a game this season that I've been like, oh, even though we're at home, I don't know. It's just something about it. Lamar Jackson, and they've been on fire this year. They have been really good. And it's like, I think personally that I'm more nervous about this game than I was last week against the Packers.
100%. Daniel Bakley says hello. What's up, Daniel? Ravens have a turnover almost in every game, but they give up a lot of big plays downfield.
That's the thing. They'll give up like a 60-yard pass, and then they'll turn over the ball the next play. They'll get the turnover. So it's just very confusing, this whole entire defense. Don't do this, Mike. Oh, come on. I'm not. Listen.
I want to hear the answer.
I love Lamar. I do. But I grew up with Flacco, and he led us to a Super Bowl. So as of right now, I'm going Flacco. I grew up with the guy. Many playoff wins, January Joe Cool, and led us to the Lombardi Trophy and MVP. If Lamar ends up doing that, which I think he will down the line, then I will say Lamar. But right now, it's just Flacco for me. That's what it is.
And I'll tell you this, Fonz, while that opinion might not be popular with this generation, it's the correct answer. Yeah. Joe Flacco.
Like if
Flacco's elite.
Damn right he's elite. If Lamar this year, then I'll say Lamar, because then you add the MVP, All-Pro, Pro Bowls, which is weird because Joe Flacco's never had a Pro Bowl, never had an All-Pro season. So, yeah, never.
Really?
No, he never. He got invited to one Pro Bowl, but declined it as an alternate because the birth of his son. So, again, he's a family fan. So, shout out to Joe Flacco for that one. Joe Cool. 11 touchdowns, 0 picks, that Super Bowl run. I will always love him for that.
Baltimore will lose because they should win.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins, I took a nap and I wake up and I see touchdown Hill, touchdown Waddle, touchdown Hill. I'm like, what the hell happened? Yeah, so, and then the Bills game too. So, yeah, that probably an accent. I don't even know what a Baltimore. I don't even know what a Baltimore accent is.
Brian McGardle from the stands. I have to be very careful with how I respond to this because I'm about to be on a stream with him in about 45 minutes. From the Stands college football show, weekly show with him, Andy Hopper, and myself. Make sure to go check that out if you like college football. The next prospects that could potentially be playing for the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Giants. He says Danny Jones needs to work on those deep balls, though. Saquon Barkley is your only player with 120-plus yard reception. I disagree with this, Brian. I disagree, and I don't disagree with you often. I think Danny's fine with the deep ball. There's nobody to catch the deep ball.
There you go.
Darius Slayton dropped a wide open 60-yard touchdown pass in the Chicago game. And the Giants should have won the Chicago game by 2 touchdowns, but we won by 8 points.
You should have blew him out, to be honest.
Yeah. If Slayton doesn't drop that ball, we win by 2. And Jones got hurt in that game too. So it's like a quarter without Daniel Jones.
And you paid Galladay to be that guy for Jones.
He's
I'm saying, like, you paid him for that. You drafted Tony to be like that speedster deep threat. You know what I mean? So like they've paid these guys and brought these guys in to do that. And it's just can't stay on that field, being healthy, or just aren't good when they're on the field. Shout out to Galladay for picking the Giants over the Ravens in free agency. So thank you for that, Kenny.
Oh gosh. Sam, we'll go with your players to watch here for each team.
Okay. So for my player to watch for the Giants, I'm doing Darius Slayton. Based off of some of the conversation we had earlier, Tom. Just the fact that he is literally our wide receiver 1 right now. I want to watch him mainly because I want to make sure he's stepping up to the plate and not just doing the bare minimum that we're praising him for. And he's got to be that guy. And my Ravens players to watch, I have 2. They're kind of coincide with one another. I'm doing Marlon Humphreys and Marcus Peters. mostly because I know Fonz has mentioned that the secondary is a little bit shaky and it's something to worry about, but we know I've seen Marcus Peters get the ball. I've seen Marlon Humphrey get the ball. And just because of the fact that we just mentioned Daniel Jones's turnover rate has been basically non-existent, I'm really nervous at the fact that these guys are just going to be like, oh, that's mine. Oh, that's mine. So I need to make sure that Daniel Jones throws it to Darius Slayton and Darius Slayton is not screwing that up. So those are my players to watch in terms of just that as a whole, and deep balls, as Brian said. So just get the ball to Slayton and don't let Humphreys or Peters get it first.
They are turnover machines, especially Peter.
Yeah.
Fonz, we'll move into your players to watch here. Who do you got for the Giants and then the Ravens?
So for the Giants, I had Darius Slayton on it, but I'll mention a guy on the defensive side. I'm a big fan of Xavier McKinney. We mentioned him before. I do like him a lot as a safety for you guys too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will have a very good game, and it wouldn't shock me because he is a ball hawk and safety too. So I hope he doesn't, but if Lamar does throw a pick, it probably would be in the direction of McKinney too. He's all over that defense, so I'm a fan of him. So I like watching him play. And on the offense for the Ravens, I talked about him before. I'm high on him. I think Devin Duvernay is going to have a good game, a sneaky good game, not only as a slot guy number 2, but also as a return man. Because Pro Bowler, All Pro, as a return specialist, has a kick return touchdown this season already. So expect him to do really well in the return game, I think, and also as the second option or third option behind Andrews and Bateman. But he will have a good game, so keep an eye on him.
And I did some homework on that, Fonz. Not Rashad Bateman. Devin Duvernay averages 36.5 yards per kick return.
Yeah, he's a very good kick returner.
Let me ask you this. Is Bateman going to play Sunday, or is that still in question?
He's still questionable to play, but it's looking like he will play. I think he just needed that week off last week, but he's questionable now. He has been limited practicing, but expect him to play. I'm not sure how well he's going to do. That's why I'm saying keep an eye on Duvernay, because if Bateman struggles with the injury, or if he's hobbling here and there, expect Duvernay to get a lot of targets thrown to him.
I agree 100%. Players to watch in this game for me, I have 2 from the Ravens I want to mention. Obviously, Lamar Jackson. The offense revolves around him. 12 touchdowns, 5 picks, 98 passer rating, 374 rushing yards and 2 scores through 5 games. The man is averaging 75 rushing yards a game. He is the quarterback and the running back of this team, Fonz. He's just outstanding. Obviously, he's a quarterback first, but he leads the NFL with 7.5 rushing yards per carry. Insane. Also, since entering the NFL, Lamar has a 75% winning percentage. He is winning 3 out of every 4 games that he starts. That is unheard of for most quarterbacks, unless your name is Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes.
Good company.
My second player to watch, look, the easy answer is Mark Andrews, because he shredded the Bengals on Sunday Night Football and has 4 touchdowns on the year, but I'm not going to give you that one. I'm going to give you Calais Campbell, and here's why. Older veteran player on that defensive line, has a sack on the year. Him and Justin Matabuk together on that defensive line could cause some problems for the Giants interior. If there's one weakness on this Giants offensive line, Fonz, Sam and I were talking about this before you hopped on, is the interior offensive line. I'm not confident in Ben Bredesen and John Feliciano that they'll be able to handle the job. Justin Matabuk is the 16th ranked interior defensive lineman in the NFL, has 1.5 sacks and 4 tackles in the backfield already this year, with 2 passes defended. And of course, my honorary mention is Justin Tucker. Don't be shocked if he hits the game-winning field goal.
Yes. I will say, if there is 2 kickers in the NFL right now that are some of the best Justin Tucker's kind of in his own thing, but Graham Gano has been really automatic for us, especially in the last couple of years. So if there is going to be a kickoff type of game where it just keeps going back and forth, like the Denver Colts game, if it's Justin Tucker and Graham Gano, I will take that. I will take that kicking game. I don't want it, but those are the 2 guys I'd actually see kick it off.
It'd be like a 15-12 kicking game, just no touchdowns, just straight.
No touchdowns.
Listen, maybe I don't know if I would listen. I'm going to the game on Sunday, so I don't know if I would enjoy it as much,
Yeah, no, not as entertaining. But if there's 2 kickers that are going to go up against each other, I think it'd be these 2.
And I'll say it's quick about Duvernay also. He played at MetLife earlier this season. He has 2 touchdowns at MetLife against the Jets. Oh, hey.
We're not the Jets, though.
I'm just saying he's good at MetLife, 4 catches, no 2 of them were touchdowns. It could very well happen again. He probably is really good at MetLife, so just gonna throw it out there. Just keep an eye on him. That's my guy.
For the Giants, I have 3. Dexter Lawrence. He's a player who can cause havoc up front, give Linderbaum and Zeitler some problems. 5th highest graded interior defensive lineman in the entire league through 5 weeks. 21 tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble from the nose tackle position is unheard of. Jihad Ward, a guy we have not mentioned yet. Kind of surprised we haven't mentioned him yet. He's a former Raven who knows this team very well. Expect him to get a lot of reps on Sunday. Ward, fun fact, has 2 QB hits in each of his last 2 games. Now, let's take a look at his stats this season. 21 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits, 1 sack, a forced fumble, and a pass deflection. Jihad Ward is a maniac. He's fun to watch, Fonz. He's one of my favorite players on the football team.
He's really good. I was upset when they let him go. And it's another former Raven who I root for, but he's been very good for you guys too. He's a baller.
And my last one, sports bettors, listen carefully. Fonz, listen carefully.
I'm listening.
Tight end Daniel Bellinger, the 4th-round rookie out of San Diego State, has 2 touchdowns on the year already. If you watched the London game last week, he was very impressive. If there's one guy outside of Slayton that Daniel Jones is going to target often, it is tight end Daniel Bellinger. He is really starting to come on. He has been the most impressive rookie of this entire 11-man rookie draft class through the first 5 weeks. He can block. He can catch. He's not Evan Ingram. He could run.
Anyone who's not Evan Ingram is great.
Keep an eye on 82 and blue, Fonz.
Pro bowler Evan Ingram.
That's very true. Can't strip
I'm
that
just
title.
telling you, watch out for Daniel Bellinger. If he has a good game, give me credit.
I will give you credit. You know what? If he has a great game, I'm going to buy his jersey at the Giant Stadium at MetLife. I'll do it.
Just to collect it, right?
Just to collect it.
I don't even know if this jersey's available yet.
Yeah, he's another nobody right now.
Yeah, I don't
not
even
well
think.
known. He is the starting tight end though, so I'd imagine they'd have to have it on deck somewhere.
Maybe.
I'll take a look. I'll send a pic and I'll show you guys if I see it.
Love Daniel Bellinger.
Yes, Sam loves Daniel Bellinger. I think Sam and I argue about who loves him more, but
it's me, Tom. I love him more.
I'll give that one to you. I got Daniel Jones, though. I'll take that.
Okay, fine. Can't have both Daniels, I guess.
Sam, let's roll through the Giants' injury list. Luckily, it's not as long as last week, but
it's not a novel. It's like a short story this week. All right.
Let me know when you got it up.
Yep, I'm looking at it.
It's still long.
All right, you want me to do it?
Yes.
All right.
Love you to do it.
So we got Cordell Flott, who did not participate with a calf injury. Kenny Golladay obviously did not participate due to a knee injury. But when does he ever participate? Kadarius Toney did not participate due to hamstring, double hamstring. Tony Jefferson did not participate due to a foot. Jason Pinnock did not participate due to an ankle. Tanner Hudson, oh no, he has an illness, did not participate. Azeez Ojulari, limited practice, which is a good upgrade for us due to a calf. We've been waiting for Ojulari to come back. Saquon Barkley, limited practice due to his shoulder. We did see him come back into this game, though, even though this injury happened. So that's a good sign. Tyrod Taylor has a concussion, full practice, which is some good stuff right there. Darnay Holmes had a quad with limited practice. Dory Jackson had a knee neck injury, limited practice. Chris, I always have a hard time saying his last name.
Myrick, yeah.
I don't know why I always have a hard time. Chris Myrick, ankle, limited practice. Leonard Williams has a knee injury, limited practice. And Wan'Dale Robinson has a knee injury, limited practice.
14.
It's a lot.
The Ravens have 6.
That was the Ravens preseason week 1 last year. I don't know how you guys feel.
No.
It's not easy.
Not fun.
But it's rewarding. It's rewarding to see that we're 4-1, even though we have all these people on an injury report.
Ravens would be 0-5 if this was the case. Well, actually, they were last year, I'm pretty sure, at some point.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's how it did go last year.
Fonz, what's the status of Justin Houston? Because he didn't practice today either.
Yeah, I'm not. I know he's still listed as questionable. I haven't heard that much from him too. I mean, that's a huge loss if he isn't playing. A veteran pass rusher for us too. Even up there at his age, he's still getting it done as a nice rotational guy for us. He's not asked to do too much, but yeah, I haven't heard that much. I know he didn't participate today and the day prior to with the groin injury, so we'll see. Maybe it won't shock me if he doesn't play, because if you don't obviously play like on today and even like tomorrow for walkthroughs, whatever it is, a red flag. So we'll see. But I haven't heard that much coming out of camp there.
Gotcha. And Justice Hill back at practice today, limited with a hammy. Ronnie Stanley back in full practice, a great sign for him on Sunday, but it's looking like Ben Cleveland might not play. It has listed here that Bateman didn't practice, but I'm not sure what the reasoning is for that.
I think because it was his foot injury. Maybe I thought he was limited.
He might have did some light work on the side. Maybe probably, sometimes they do that and still mark it as a DNP. I don't know why. But the biggest loss for Baltimore is Marcus Williams, hands down.
Yeah, that's
incredible.
There's a couple. I think was it minimum 4 weeks. I believe if it's short term IR. So that's gonna be rough the next couple.
So, before we get into the game predictions, Fonz, I want to ask you, and I'll ask Sam as well, one player you would steal from the Giants.
Oh God, I gotta really think about this.
Everyone does.
No, I mean, just for this week, I'll take Xavier McKinney. I literally to replace Wooly. At the time, because Stanley was injured, I would have said Andrew Thomas. But then you could put him even on the right side too. But Morgan Moses has been solid. If I had to pick one to just, I guess. I mean, can you imagine Saquon and Lamar in the backfield?
Forget about it.
I think that might be my answer then too, because like Stanley's healthy now, so I wouldn't take Thomas. McKinney would be for like a couple of weeks, so it'd probably be Barkley. Even though I love Dobbins, but I mean, come on, if they were saying like, here, take Saquon Barkley, they'd be like, yeah, absolutely, like no questions asked. Go ahead, you look good in purple. That's all I'll say.
Sam, who are you swiping from Fonz's Ravens?
I just did like a quick Google search of just like the Baltimore Ravens roster. Probably Rashad Bateman, just because of how ridiculously thin our wide receiver core is. And he's new, he's fresh, he's young. I would take Rashad Bateman. Probably catch a deep ball from Danny Dimes and actually in the red zone for once.
A good pick.
Sam took mine, but
sorry, Tom.
No, it's all good because I have a secondary one, and I'm disappointed, Fonz. You haven't mentioned his name yet. It's Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. You pair him next to Xavier McKinney. All due respect to Julian Love, Kyle Hamilton would flourish in this wing scheme. He can play linebacker. He can play safety.
Oh, he would. Oh, he 100% would.
He could improve both our second and third levels so much, no one would be able to throw the deep ball against us. Maybe they could target the corners and the intermediate routes, but no one will be able to target it with X and Kyle Hamilton. Little Notre Dame bias there, but
I figured you'd take him. Guy. I figured you mentioned his name. I figured you would.
That's my guy. Fonz's Ravens draft so well, but
yeah, I can't wait till David Ajabo comes back. The guy from Michigan that tore his.
Oh yeah,
supposed to be a first round pick. They got him in the third, late second, early third, and I'm like, with the Ravens pick, Harbaugh was just like, oh, he's supposed to be first rounder. We'll take the gamble on him.
Yeah.
Wait till he comes back because I'm excited to see him. He was so hyped to be drafted by the Ravens. And Harbaugh, he says like he's not playing, but he's very impressed with his recovery. So he'll be back sooner than later, and he will change our defense. I'm
fell to your lap.
Yeah.
Luck of the draft.
So at this time, we're going to make our game predictions. But first, we'll get our game prediction from our good buddy who could not be here tonight, Hank and Dictor. And just give me a second as I got to disconnect due to an audio issue with my laptop. Give me just one moment, and we'll get him on the screen very shortly.
There he is.
Giant fans, how's it going? Hank here, back at it again. And unfortunately, I'm sorry I couldn't make this episode of Big Blue Avenue. One, because I was supposed to go to that Yankee game, which unfortunately got rained out. And two, because of other commitments I had afterwards as say, a backup plan. But in any event, I was very shocked and pleasantly surprised about that win over the Packers, the most exciting win I've seen the Giants have in quite some time. But now let's talk a little bit about the Baltimore Ravens game. This is an interesting matchup for the New York Giants. There's a lot of good players to watch out for in Baltimore, such as Lamar Jackson and tight end Mark Andrews, who the Giants have had trouble covering in years past. I think the Giants will probably do enough to keep it close, because if there's one thing that the New York Football Giants have taught us in years past, they never seem to play a full week without putting in a full effort, and that's a huge credit to the coaching staff. Now, as far as do I think the Giants will win or not goes, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. I see the Baltimore Ravens winning by a final score of 26-21. But hey, if the Giants can prove me wrong, by all means. That's all I got to say for you. I will see you guys back next week for another episode.
Thanks, Hank. You good, Tom?
Yeah, y'all can hear me.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Apologies about that audio delay. Fonz, as the guest, I will get to your prediction next. Who do you have winning this football game, and what is your final score?
Well, listen, I'll get this out of the way. I do wholeheartedly believe the Ravens will win this football game, but I don't think it's going to be like the other New York team where it was a blowout from the start. I do think it'll be a close game down to the wire. I really do. I know there's a lot of star players on the Giants team, but even when you saw against the Packers, when it's crunch time, they show up. So it's gonna be good game on both sides. You know, maybe I probably will see another Justin Tucker game-winning field goal. That probably could happen. But I'm going to go with the score, 24-21. It's going to be a close game down to the wire. I truly believe it. Little scoring here and there, but 24-21, the Baltimore Ravens.
Sam, what do you got for us?
Well, I put something on the sheet, and I've decided that I am not going to go with what I put on the sheet anymore, because I want to take the New York Giants. I genuinely am very, like I said, I'm nervous to go into this game, but the more we've talked through it in this episode, the more I've kind of convinced myself that we have just this slight upper hand with Wink Martindale. And I think that it's going to be a very close game, and I think every game the Giants is going to play is going to be a very close game. So I'll keep my score prediction, which was 28-24, and instead of picking the Ravens, I'm going to go with the Giants.
Okay, so Hank went with the Ravens. Fonz went with the Ravens. Sam went with the Giants. All right. Fonz, you may want to get your soundboard out for this one.
Oh, boy.
Let me get this. What sound am I going to play? Hold on. All right. I'm ready.
All right. So, yeah, look, this game has a lot in store for us. And I think this Baltimore team is different from last year. They're not the same last place team that they were. And granted, without all the injuries last year, Baltimore's probably not a last place team. That's why they're playing the Giants this year. But the Giants, look what they did to Aaron Rodgers last week with nobody, right? I mean, outside of Mark Andrews, what does Lamar Jackson really have? If Bateman plays, will he be 100%? Will they work Devin Duvernay on the intermediate routes? How will the special teams perform? That's what I want to know. As far as the Giants are concerned, we know they're going to stack the box against Saquon Barkley. But what we do know is Daniel Jones is one of the best play-action quarterbacks in the National Football League. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I do have the Baltimore Ravens losing this game by a final score of 24-23. Graham Gano outdoes Justin Tucker with a 52-yard game-winning field goal.
Fraud. That's what it is. This is what I heard. Graham Gano 52-yard. That's what I heard. All right, there's no way that would happen. There's no. Come on, Tom.
Okay, hey, I did pick the Ravens in quick picks, though.
You did.
I give you that.
I think I did too.
I picked the Giants last week in quick picks, by the way, the upset too, and I won this week. So
I'm just saying the show's not interesting if we all pick Baltimore.
No, you're right. Listen, at least we're all not watching Commanders Bears tonight, because I will aggressively not watch that game tonight. Even though Brian Robinson, as you know, just why not? But I will not watch that game.
So far I got week 1, I picked Tennessee. That didn't pan out. Week 2, I picked the Giants. That panned out. Week 3, I picked Dallas. That panned out. And then week 4, I picked I picked the Giants. That panned. Week 5, I picked Green Bay. That didn't work. So I'm 3-2. Yeah, I mean, 5-1's a big number. I don't know, but something just tells me this Giants team is different with Dable. Like, there's just
different.
He's been very good. I said it too. He was the best coaching hire this season. I'm a big fan of Dable. He's brought a different culture to your guys' locker room, and like that's something that I think the Giants desperately need after Shermer, McAdoo, good old Joe Judge. It's a little different vibe there, and it's a good vibe. So,
yeah, this is no longer a clown show organization, So I'm happy to say that. But it is 8:16. Fonz, any final thoughts before we let you go tonight? And also, why don't you tell the folks where people can find you and your work?
Well, I want to say, Sam and Tom, thank you so much for having me on here too. It's you guys are doing a great job, Big Blue Avenue, talking some New York Giants. I'm glad to bring my perspective from the Ravens side here. So you guys can check me out, the Slick Bet Kickback Reports, wherever you get your podcasts. Also on my YouTube channel, Fonz De Falco. TikTok's Fonz De Falco. It's pretty much, if you just type Fonz De Falco on any social media, it's the same thing. I made it easy for everybody and myself because I don't want to make 20 different names on my account. So yeah, Fonz De Falco, wherever, any social media, and the Slick Bet Kickback Report. That's where you can find me. New episodes weekly. Anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can check me out also, reviewing previews 4 Corners every Monday night, talking pro wrestling. Me, Mike DeSanto, and Albert Donor give you weekly knowledge of pro wrestling talk. And it's been a very good time to be a wrestling fan now.
Bray Wyatt's back.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Albert's happy about that. Let me tell you, Albert's favorite wrestler is back in the fold, and Albert could not be more excited.
Yeah. And appreciate you joining us here tonight. Always one of our favorite people to have on. You bring a lot to the table.
I try to.
And Sam, any final words here before we sign off?
No, I mean, I'm just really excited for this game. I think it's going to be a really, really good game. And also just shout out to Fonz's TikToks. I love them. Like, they are some of my favorite TikToks that pop up on my page. So highly recommend following Fonz on TikTok. But yeah, I think that this is going to be a fantastic game. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see what ends up happening because it's going to be close, and I think it's anyone's game.
Also, folks, and Sam, I'm not sure if you mentioned this yet, but aren't you doing a vlog this weekend?
I am. Fonz, cover your ears. I'm going to Acrisure Stadium. I am seeing the Pittsburgh Steelers play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this weekend. I'm very excited. And yeah, so if you check out my YouTube channel, The Girl Who Talks Sports, sometime next week I'll be posting a full vlog of our trip down there. I'm going with my whole family. My brother's a diehard Steelers fan. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you haven't already, I also went to Buffalo. If you want to check out the Buffalo vlog, it's also up there. So vlogging is my new thing now.
Smashing that Titans car with the jack.
The most incredible thing. And I had to sign a waiver so that I couldn't sue them in case I got hurt. And then I literally pulled my neck muscle and I was like, no, I can't sue them. But it was fun.
Too funny. Bills Mafia live strong. Have fun on Sunday. Fonz and Sam, you'll both be attending NFL games while I will be working from home watching the Giants game. So
wonderful.
I envy you both. Folks, without further ado, let's go Big Blue.